Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, this video is actually specifically for a guy on Facebook who had watched one of my earlier videos and had asked about a recommendation for an acoustic electric guitar. So, acoustic electric. There's a lot of choices out there, and so I mentioned that I'd do a video for him and also show him what this thing sounds like. This is my EJ-200 that I mentioned to him. Now, if you like a bit bigger body guitar, this thing is fantastic. And I do have it plugged in as well, but we're going to start out playing just with the guitar, and then I'll turn the volume actually on the preamp so that we can listen to it through the amp. But if you're looking for an acoustic electric guitar, it's going to kind of depend on where your budget sits. Now, this thing cost me like about not quite $700 Canadian. So I got a really good deal on it with a actual proper hard shell case for it. So that was pretty sweet. I personally, I love Taylor guitars. I've had a few of them, and my last one was actually a 114, but life happened and it had to go. But I wanted to replace it, so I actually ordered myself in a newer model, higher level up series. Not exactly the one that I wanted, okay, because what I want costs about double what I'm ending up getting, but either way I still get most of that wood that I was after in the new guitar. And I did play the right-handed version, and I quite like the sound of it and how it plays. So I'm not overly picky, but if I did have the money to buy what I really wanted for the Taylor, I definitely would have gone after the Koa Deluxe that I wanted. So, a little bit lesser of a machine that I got, but I'm going to still enjoy the daylights out of it for years to come. But Taylor is one brand I would definitely highly recommend for guitars. Now, they don't gain the value or hold the value to a Martin, for example. And I've owned lots of Martin guitars. And I got to tell you, the day I got a Taylor is the day I turned my back on Martin. But that's for me, right? We're all looking for a specific kind of sound in a guitar, playability, all that jazz. I mean, action height is something you can alter on your own, but it's the sound of that guitar that really is what attracts us, as well as the looks. And when I had gotten this was actually a loaner at the time when my Gibson Les Paul was out for repair the one time. And I thought, well, you know, I needed something, and I think this was the loaner for that. But anyways, I bought it on like Gibson month last year, and of course I bought 4 new guitars this year on Gibson month, so it's kind of like I'm going crazy. But I do like the sound of the guitar. For me, for my body size, I'm still kind of finding it a little bit awkward, but I'm getting used to it. You know, I mean, body size makes a difference in how a guitar fits you, but it doesn't impede my playing capabilities any. It just feels weird, I guess you could say. But it's like anything, you get used to it, like a smaller body guitar versus a bigger. This year I had picked up a Gibson that I actually ended up having to go back. It turned out it had a problem with it. But it was nice for a smaller body Gibson, and the price was good, and you know, but it had an issue, and it's like, no, I have a bit once, twice shy kind of thing going on in life. But now I will say this, if you do pick up an EJ-200 ever, even just for your collection and to fart around with it, I personally found that the factory strings, which are D'Addarios, sucked on this thing. I hated the sound of this guitar. So I threw on some Elixir Nano Web 1253s, and this thing just came to life, and it actually started to make me actually love the guitar. And I've played it live as well, and it does a fantastic job, and it really gets out there with that bigger body, because you also have a lot more volume coming out of a bigger body guitar. And I am a sucker for cutaways. I love the cutaway style, and of course the sound that comes out of a cutaway as opposed to the same guitar as a full dreadnought. There is a sound difference, and if you listen closely, you can hear it. But anyways, let's play this straight out for you guys first, and then we'll turn up the amp and see what she sounds like through the amp. Now, every amp too is going to be different, and this is not an acoustic amp. I actually have the guitar plugged into my ME80 pedal board, which has an acoustic preamp channel, so I can safely play this through an amp. that's a normal guitar amp. The amp we're using is actually my Hughes and Kettner Spirit of Vintage. And we are going to have some delay turned on this, and yeah, maybe we'll throw some chorus in there too while we're at it. We'll see. But anyway, so this is a guitar just on its own. So in answer to finger picking, yes, it finger picks quite well. Okay, so let's turn this thing up. No effects. Now this does have its own bass, middle, and treble. There's also a phase switch on this thing too. So it does kind of alter the sound tone a bit. Okay, cable time. Now that's good to have on video, isn't it? I think we need to move that back. A little off balance on that stand. Alright, that was kind of funny, sort of. Okay, I think that's lots. So, I personally like the guitar. Like I said, it still feels a little weird to me because it's a little big. I can't personally myself stand up and play this guitar. I find it, you know, a little bit too large bodied for that. But sitting down with it is fantastic, you know. But if you have a big enough trunk and all that, in your body, then yeah, you could sit down and play, you can stand up and play it. It's fantastic. I can't stand up and play this thing. A Taylor, yes, because they're smaller, they're thinner, then cool, right? However, I do like the guitar quite a bit. You know, I do play it often. Probably not as often as I play my electrics, mind you, but I do play it often, especially for acoustic stuff I need to do. And I love the pickup in it. It works great. And you've got the, like I said, bass mid treble. You got the phase flip on it as well, so it kind of alters the tone. Does have a built-in tuner too that works quite well. And this actually is the Fishman Prius system. What model I don't know, it just says Fishman Prius on it, but I'd have to look up the specs online to tell you exactly what model, but it is Fishman. And Fishman makes some really nice electronics. I wish Taylor would actually start using the Fishman system, because generally on Taylors all you get is like volume, bass, and treble, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but having bass, mid, and treble, that really helps a lot more. So less EQing to worry about. You can EQ yourself and just leave your sound engineer to just leave everything at 12 o'clock, right? And then you can boost to your taste from there for your songs, right? But even just playing it acoustically, it is a really, really nice guitar. You know, and it's inexpensive. It's not going to break the bank. So I mean, in the States, I think these things sell for what, $500 or something, you know? And tuning stability, of course, is outstanding because it is an Epiphone. The headstock is narrower. Epiphone knows how to cut nuts. You know, Gibson, for some reason, they don't know how to cut a nut if their life depended on it. I don't know what it is with Gibsons, but, you know, these are perfectly cut. But tuning stability is fantastic. And the elixirs, for me anyways, I find they're great. You're going to have to find out whatever strings you like the best on any guitar that you buy acoustically, and electrics too. I'm actually going to try out some elixirs on one of my electrics, because I have seen and heard a few guys using them on there and they like them, and I'm thinking kind of like, well, what guitar should I victimize for that one? I'm not sure, I have so many choices. It'll have to be one of my lefties, obviously. If I'm going to spend 30 bucks on a pack of strings, it's going to go on a lefty. But anyways, either way, if this was me going out shopping right now, buying an acoustic guitar, and I had a budget of say $1,000 total, I would be looking toward, well, for Americans anyways, I'd be looking toward this, or, you know, maybe a 100 series Taylor, for example, because you could get a 100 series Taylor, like a 114 CE or 114 Dreadnought even, for probably around 1,000 or just under, probably just under 1,000 for you guys. For Canadians, though, we got to pay a little bit more, but that's because of the dollar thing, right? But I love the color of this. I like the feel of the neck. It's a slimmer neck. It's not a fat neck by any means, and it does have some medium jumbos on it, which are nice, so you don't have to even hardly press on this thing. The action is already set really low from the factory as it is, and I like it. As far as the neck relief goes, there's about, I'd say probably around 8 and maybe 8.5 millimeter of play in there, so I could actually straighten it a bit more, which would actually lower it a little bit, and it doesn't really lower it, it just pushes the middle of the neck more upward and straighter, so it appears lower, but it's not technically lower. But anyways, it's a whole other jargon to explain. But I really like it. I think it's a great guitar. So this would be one, yes, I would definitely recommend. And if you're looking at spending, you know, around, you know, 1,000, 1,500 or less, take a look at Taylor's. Take a look at some of the more inexpensive Gibsons if you want. Takamine. I've owned Takamine guitars. They are really nice. I had a GD30 for quite a while. It was quite the nice guitar. But like I said, once I went to Taylor, everything else kind of seemed to go bye-byes, other than this thing, right? And I am going to be keeping this thing for probably till I'm, you know, old and gray and getting ready for my own funeral someday, type of thing, you know. But hopefully that's not for another 50 years. But this is definitely a nice guitar. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. For you guys, my fellow YouTubers who do always support my channel, and for those of you who are not subscribed yet, please do so and smash that bell for notifications. And I really hope that this video also helped out the gentleman on Facebook that was kind of curious about, you know, what I would recommend for guitar, because I did tell him that, like I said, I would demo this one for him because it's the only acoustic I have here right now. But this would be one. But I personally think the Elixirs actually sound the best on this guitar, but you have to be your own judge. Now there is a new version too, before I go. There is a new version of this guitar. So it's basically the identical guitar. Now this does, by the way, come in left or right-handed. I'm a lefty and a righty player. I'm just better at left-handed than right-handed. The pickup system is different in the newer model. It actually has a pickup right at the end of the fretboard, as well as the under saddle. So I didn't like that one myself, or the sound of it for being plugged in. Excuse me, a little tired today. But to each their own. It's kind of up to you. But you can probably still find this model without a problem. It's not that old. In fact, this one here, hey, now that's interesting. This is like the first one I've not seen them stamp the headstock. Interesting. They don't fake these things. Well, they Chinese do, but I've never, that's interesting. I never noticed there was no serial number on my guitar before. Like, every Epiphone is stamped. Like, we have a model number here. Oh, okay, serial number is inside. Never mind, my bad, sorry. This is a 2019, this one here. Okay, so that's what this one is. So they put the serial number here instead of stamping the headstock. That's kind of weird, because usually Epiphone, like all my Epiphones that I have, they all have it on the headstock. Even my Kramer's, my Gibson, I think even my Gretsch has a serial number on the headstock, but this is the first time I've ever seen them do it there. I'll be darned. I've had this guitar for a while, And I'm like, wow, that's the first time I never noticed that the serial number is inside on the sticker and not on the headstock. So kind of cool. But yeah, so it is a 2019. So you may find one of these available in your local music store still. Just because it's a 2019 doesn't mean that it's still not brand new, right? It's just an older made version, that's all. And this one is made in Indonesia. I really love Indonesia Epiphones. The Chinese ones aren't too bad either, you know. Same with the Kramers, right? The Pacer Classics, they're made in Indonesia. Where this one, and if I remember correctly, even this one here, the Beretta, is, I think, made in China as well. No, Indonesia. So the focus is the Chinese. So the Beretta is Indonesia, the Pacer Classic is, and this one is China. So yes, your lowest end, bottom of the pit barrel Kramers are made in China. So anyhow, that's it. That's all. I'm out of here. Have a good one, guys.